Hey there people, how you doing? So, today we have the complete comparison between the iPhone 12 and Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Now I realize it is not a fair comparison because the iPhone 12 neither has the complete feature set that the Note 20 Ultra's got, nor does it have the obscene price tag. But what I'm gonna do instead is that I'm gonna throw in references to the iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max while I'm comparing these two. That way, you guys can get basically a full picture of how well the iPhone 12 series compares to the Note 20 Ultra, Samsung's best flagship for 2020. So, there's gonna be a lot to talk about, and hence, let's get started right away with the usual design. And I gotta hand it to the Note 20 Ultra. They nailed it for design because the Note 20 Ultra is legit the best looking smartphone that I've used, and that is obviously a personal opinion. It can differ for different people. Sure, very understandable, but man, the Note 20 Ultra looks good, especially this bronze finish. I just absolutely adore the way they have done it. It's bold, beautiful, just in every sense of the word, it is nearly perfect for me. I understand that people do not like the sharper corners, it's not as comfortable. Well, if that is the case, then you might not also prefer the more unique and flattened sides that the iPhone 12 has got, and as a matter of fact, the whole 12 series has got. Well, then neither of these are gonna be the most comfortable phones of the year, but they have some unique look. But end of the day, I do think the Note 20 Ultra's design, starting from the front screen with the completely bezel-less and tiny punch hole to the crazy camera contrast against the absolutely beautiful matte finish, it just looks way too good. So yes, the Note 20 Ultra does take a win for design. Then, for displays, and well, let's face it, the Note 20 Ultra is again gonna take a win quite easily as such, because the Note 20 Ultra, it has a major advantage. It has the 120Hz, which every single iPhone of 2020 lacks, and because of that, and because of the fact that the 120Hz is so damn good and so damn well implemented that I just cannot express it in any other way other than saying that it's perfect. It looks incredible, it runs incredibly smooth, and basically I love using the Note 20 Ultra and I would use this display over the iPhones any day. But content consumption, well, that's a slightly different story, not a whole lot though. I do still prefer the Note 20 Ultra because on one hand it has higher brightness, secondly, a much larger display. Now, of course, you could get the iPhone 12 Pro Max, but you do gotta keep in mind, the iPhones, they have a kind of dated look with much thicker frame bezels. Now, I know some people like it, some people don't, but I personally don't. Also, the notch. Man, that notch, it needs to go away. I thought I would get used to it, but I couldn't. I've used this for about a month and a half now, and I still haven't gotten used to it even like for once. Like, it's always there just staring at me and I'm staring back and it's annoying. So the punch hole on the Note 20 Ultra being so small and the screen being so large and bezel-less, it's easy for me to just say that the Note 20 Ultra, content consumption wise, overall, it just take a win. Also, speaker quality is better on the Note 20 Ultra. There is this extra bit of depth and a tiny bit more volume. The volume isn't a huge deal breaker, but the depth and clarity, now I'm not entirely certain if these are the right terms, but what I'm trying to say is that the Note 20 Ultra's speakers sound just a little bit better, and the stereo directional audio is also a little bit more distinctive on the Note 20 Ultra. The iPhone is good. It's very good for the size and just the price. The speaker quality is amazing. The displays are also equally amazing. Well, not equally, but comparing the prices, it is damn good. But 120Hz is just insane. It's absolutely bonkers. It looks incredible. It feels incredible on a day-to-day basis. Like, you unlock your phone and you feel 120Hz. And I'm not gonna sacrifice that, even though the iPhone 12 in particular costs much less while giving us a comparatively amazing display. Amazing looking display. Dolby Vision is also something that the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 series as such has, and I gotta say, if it comes to Dolby Vision and Netflix HDR, Dolby Vision alone looks a little bit better on the iPhones. But overall though, the display is easily gonna go over to the Note 20 Ultra, and so does content consumption, just tied in all together with speakers and the display and everything. But yeah, you get the point. Two wins for the Note 20 Ultra. So now let's talk about performance and battery life. And now remember, the exact same thing happened when I compared the iPhone 12 with the Galaxy S20 Plus. The S20 Plus took two wins in design and display, and then it completely tanked in performance and battery life. The same is basically gonna happen for the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra because I have the Exynos 990 version. Do keep in mind that if you can get your hands on the Snapdragon variant, that one has a Snapdragon 865 Plus, an insanely good and powerful chipset, super efficient, and a little bit more powerful than the 865 even. So, like, that Note 20 Ultra is perfect in every sense of the word. It has got just the absolute bonkers amount of performance. It's got the best amount of efficiency that you can get. I think it has some of the best battery life, if not the best in the game when it comes to all the major flagships. So all I'm trying to say is that if I had the Snapdragon variant in my hands, I would have easily handed the win for battery to the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, but because it's the Exynos with the Exynos 990, it's just not good. The battery life is nice. We get up to 6 hours, up to, not over 6 hours, up to 6 hours. 5.5 hours is more of an average. It's not bad. I mean, it's still a lot of screen time. But with the iPhones, because of the fact that we have a much more efficient chipset, software optimization, and a 60Hz display, it all comes together and gives us tremendous battery life. I've gotten over 6 hours on the iPhone versus barely touching 6 hours on the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. So battery versus the Exynos Note 20 Ultra goes to the iPhone, obviously. Another obvious thing is that we have performance, which also goes to the iPhone. I mean, Apple A14, way too good to even compete with Android. And the exact same thing happened for the S20 Plus versus iPhone 12 comparison, because now we have a tie. It's the iPhone 12 with performance and battery, and the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra with display and design. So which one's gonna win? The camera is obviously gonna decide. There are extra stuff as well. I'll just, talk about them, mention them mostly at the end. But basically, the cameras. Photography side of things, I mostly like it on the Note 20 Ultra. But when it comes to human subjects, whether it is normal photographs of a lot of people or portraits, the iPhone without question takes a win. I mean, there's no point even arguing about this, because I personally, every single comparison that I've done with every single device that I've had, it's always gonna be the iPhone taking the win easy, because just somehow the iPhone manages to nail skin tones and the right amount of contrast, the right amount of highlights, and the conservation of highlights, and everything about the iPhones and their human subjects. It's always gonna be better, in my opinion, on the iPhones. So that is how you can differentiate between the two when it comes to normal photography. When we move on to night mode, things change quite a bit. Because firstly, we have a much more versatile camera system on the Note 20 Ultra. Of course, this does extend to the daylight images and normal images as well. But overall, the versatility of the Note 20 Ultra is amazing, and it carries over to the night mode as well. So what I'm saying is that at night, if you use the main cameras, you're gonna get similar results. The Note 20 Ultra does edge out at times in more extreme conditions. With very less light, you will get a little bit less noise and more detail, because the sensor size of the Note 20 Ultra is much bigger. It can gather a lot more light, and so yeah, you'll get a little bit better photos at night at more extreme conditions. Normal photographs, however, are very similar. And one thing about the iPhones I really like is that night skies in particular are super well done on the iPhone. I mean, the processing really does a massive and insanely good job when it comes to night skies. Night mode ultra wide, however, is horrible on the iPhones, because as far as I've seen, they are not good. Man, the iPhones with the night mode ultra wide, they really need to improve it. And basically until that happens, maybe it's a hardware improvement that's needed, maybe the software needs to be optimized, I don't know what it is. But until that happens, Night mode, I do believe it's the best when it comes to the Samsung Galaxy lineups, and it's the same this time around. The Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra with its ultra wide night mode is just fantastic in every sense of the word. And you can also zoom in up to 5 times, which do look fantastic. Now let's move on to video. So yeah, video, I thought it would be easier to decide which one's better, but it's surprisingly not, because clearly the iPhone's video quality is just a tad bit better than the Note 20 Ultra. But the problem is that the difference in quality is so minor that other differences like better hardware on the Note 20 Ultra, better versatility on the Note 20 Ultra, they kind of leapfrog over that little advantage that Apple has, that is slightly better video quality. So here's what I found. In normal daylight videos, you will get very good video quality from both. Tad bit more detail on the iPhone versus more depth of field and other things related to a much larger sensor on the Note 20 Ultra. You can also zoom in quite a bit more because of 5 times optical zoom on the Note 20 Ultra. And lastly, when it comes to low light video, it's gonna be much, like miles better on the Note 20 Ultra, and that does extend to some degree to indoors video where lighting isn't really ideal but isn't horrible either. So in those situations, once again, because of a much larger sensor on the Note 20 Ultra, you're gonna get better video quality. So that overall leads me to say that video quality is a little bit more evened out, where the quality, raw quality, isn't as impressive as the iPhone, but everything else like the low light or medium to low light in indoors lighting, all those things, they kind of even out the harsher edges and basically make the Note 20 Ultra an amazing device for video. Then of course we have stuff like 8K video, the quality of which is insanely good. It's basically just as good as the iPhone, as long as you use a tripod and ideal lighting and all that stuff. But yeah, 8K video is a very novel feature that the Galaxy lineup has had in 2020, and it's a fun feature to use when you can use it. So yeah, overall I do think the cameras are better on the Note 20 Ultra because of the fact that you have so much more versatility. And other than human subjects, do keep that in mind, because human subjects, without question, whether it's front camera or back camera, both are just way too good on the iPhone to even compare with anything else, because I've done comparisons with the OnePlus 8 Pro, Vivo X50 Pro, S20 Plus and the Note 20 Ultra, obviously. Human subjects have always turned out to be better represented on the iPhones. So with that said, the cameras are a win for the Note 20 Ultra, at least in my books. I do believe that other than humans, everything else about the Note 20 Ultra is it's impressive, so I like it a lot more. But there are other stuff as well, because you have a $1,300 price tag. That's a lot of money, and for that you get extra features, namely the S Pen. I believe that the S Pen is a single most amazing feature for the Note 20 Ultra, and it's basically for a very few people, including me, because I'm an artist, and for me, being able to create artworks on the Note 20 Ultra, it means a lot, and because of that, I use the Note 20 Ultra a lot more, and I find it to be a lot more useful to me because it meets my needs. Now I know a lot more people are out there just looking for a good flagship, and the Note 20 Ultra does provide that, but not using the S Pen, which is included in there, I mean, it's an insanely good stylus and it works amazingly well. It functions just near perfect in terms of latency. And if you're not gonna use it, then there are other phones out there, namely the S20 series, which are gonna give you basically a similar kind of experience, but it's gonna cost you a little bit less because you're not paying for the extra feature which you may not end up using. But if you do end up using the S Pen, like I do, you're gonna enjoy this phone. You're gonna enjoy it over any other phone you've ever used, and that's kind of a guarantee coming from me because I use the S Pen. I use it a lot. There are other things like Face ID versus the in-display fingerprint scanner. The speeds are basically alike because on the iPhone you have to first tap and then swipe up, versus just putting a finger on the Note 20 Ultra. The speed is not exactly very different when it comes to unlocking. But accuracy, I think it's a little bit more on the iPhone, but given that everybody's wearing masks, it just destroys Face ID completely. So at that point, when I'm outside wearing a mask, I really like using the Note 20 Ultra because it has an actual fingerprint scanner instead of depending on my face. It's an odd time for using Face ID. That's just, problem of current situation. And of course, there are other phones in the iPhone 12 lineup, like the 12 Pro Max with a slightly larger sensor, which is nothing compared to the humongous sensor on the Note 20 Ultra, but it is larger than the iPhone 12, and you might end up getting a little bit better night mode photos and nighttime video, maybe. Yeah. But as far as I've seen, the differences are so minor that it is difficult to notice even when compared side by side. Secondly, the iPhone 12 Pro Max has a bigger display, it has a matte finish, which I personally love, and more importantly, in terms of cameras, it has a 2.5 times zoom. Now, of course, compared to no zoom, it is more versatile, but compared to the Note 20 Ultra's 5 times optical zoom, it is once again not even a comparison, because double zoom on the Note 20 Ultra just makes it so much easier to just recommend the Note 20 Ultra when you want versatility compared to the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So, overall, I think the Note 20 Ultra takes the win. What do you guys think? Which phone would you go for, and why? Why exactly would you prefer the iPhone, if that is your choice? And if it's the Note 20 Ultra, do you think that the reasons I chose the Note 20 Ultra, namely display, slightly better cameras, because I don't take human subjects much, so slightly better cameras for me, and secondly, the design, I do prefer it on the Note 20 Ultra. So let me know what you guys think. So that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be seeing you guys later. Cheers.